Okay, good afternoon, everyone. It's Jimmy Licauco on our sixth, kala ko fifth lang, broadcast on Jimmy Licauco Live, talking about different topics of interest to people who are interested in, what do you call, things beyond science and religion, anything under the sun. So we choose different topics, sometimes those suggested by other people to talk about. This is similar to what I was doing before from 1992 to 2013 on DZMM on In and Mind on Radio, where I talk about different topics and sometimes I have guests and we talk about paranormal phenomena, psychic phenomena. I talk about and interview psychics, clairvoyants, fortune tellers, research scientists, people who have had experience, extraordinary experience in life that cannot be explained by science and religion. Today, let's talk about ghosts. Yes, multo. What are they? Why do they appear? When do they appear? And are there such things? Um, I always get a big laugh every time I am asked, is there really such a thing as ghosts? Because the concept of ghosts has existed since time immemorial, since the beginning of time. People have seen ghosts everywhere in biblical times. People have seen ghosts thousands of years ago. And all over the world, there are stories of apparitions. No? It's not something unusual. It's not something that is rare. And yet, people keep asking, is this true? Now, I think the reason why is that not everybody has seen ghosts. And if you have not seen one, you can't believe it. And that's good. I mean, it's understandable. If you haven't seen one, why should you believe? So, um, the question remains up to now. But there are many questions about ghosts and apparitions. And one of the things is that why do they appear and when? We won't tackle this subject. Maybe in some other occasion we shall tackle some of this. This afternoon, maybe I want to focus on question of certain experiences of people who are seeing ghosts while their eyes are closed. Why do we see this? Beings. People think that to see something, or an apparition, you have to have your eyes open, but that is not true. You can see ghosts with your eyes closed, and that is the mystery of it. No? The problem is that people cannot understand that there are actually several worlds in existence. We live in a multi-dimensional reality. In fact, right now in quantum physics, certain theoretical physicists have given the opinion that there are several dimensions or parallel universes. And one theory states that there are seven, no, no, in that is occult philosophy, but in quantum physics, some physicists believe there are 11 dimensions. In occult philosophy, the esoteric sciences, they believe that there are seven dimensions or planes of existence, and each plane of existence, in each plane, there is seven subplanes. So these are different beliefs. In other words, there is a convergence between certain mystical beliefs and now with quantum science. They're converging, and there are many other aspects of quantum physics that are parallel to the beliefs of the occult, well, people have experienced supernatural, the mystical. But going back to ghosts, when we talk of ghosts, we normally think of spirits of the dead. Because when we talk of spirits or apparitions, they're not all spirits of the dead. There are many kinds of spirits in the spirit world. Uh, the spirits of the dead is only one of them. But there are other things, other spirits like elementals or nature spirits. What are they? Elementals are, how to explain elementals? They belong to the elements of the earth of the universe. And there are four elements, fundamental elements believed by the ancient Greeks, and which has passed on to us. This is believed in the element of water, element of fire, element of earth, element of air. And each element, there are corresponding creatures inhabiting this particular universe or this particular element. So Paracelsus named them this way. The elementals of the earth are called gnomes or dwarves. The elementals of the air are called fairies. Elementals of water are called undines. And what else? The elementals of fire are salamanders. Not the salamander animal that you know, but a kind of an animal or a kind of creature that get burned by fire. They live in hot springs or lava. No, that's the salamanders. So these are the four elements that inhabit the invisible world. But then, aside from them, there are other creatures. There are the angelic creatures. There are the, ETs, extraterrestrial beings that inhabit this world. So we're going further and further away now because when you talk of this, it's so interrelated. There are so many aspects to this. So when we talk about spirits, we can go anywhere. We can talk about so many things. So let's go back and talk about spirits of the dead appearing to people who are living. And the most interesting movie that I've seen about ghosts is precisely this movie called Ghosts. It's starring, if I'm not mistaken, Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze. Was it Bruce Willis? Is Bruce Willis there? No, that Bruce Willis is Sixth Sense. It's a different movie. Okay, see Bruce Willis, Sixth Sense. It's another good movie. The interesting thing about this movie goes that for the first time, the story about ghosts is told from the point of view of the ghosts. Most of the ghost stories that you see on films and read on magazines and books talk about how human beings interact or see the ghost. And the movie turns it around and say, how does the ghost feel being a ghost? So it became best, really, how do you call it? Not bestseller. Bestseller is for books. How do you call that? Yung top screen or something? Box office. A box office hit. And it made a lot of money. And Patrick Swayze, since then, has also become a ghost. He died later. He's no longer around. So he probably is appearing to Demi Moore. Now, talking about ghosts that can be seen, I have several experiences on this, which is quite interesting because it's very rare. In fact, this is one of the most, or two of the most unusual experiences I've had in my study of this, what's sometimes called anomalous phenomena or paranormal phenomena, which I hate. I hate the word paranormal because, to me, there is no such thing as paranormal phenomena. Everything is normal. It is paranormal only because science cannot explain it. That's why it is called anomalous phenomena or paranormal phenomena. But phenomena is normal from the point of view of the supernatural. It's something that's natural. It's not extraordinary. So when we talk of this, the paranormal, it is from the point of view of the non-physical sciences. I have seen ghosts twice with my eyes closed. The first time was that was in the maybe mid 80s. I'm not so sure exactly when, but 85, 86, 87. Um, I was in a bookstore, National Bookstore, looking at certain books of the New Age, what they call, it's another label I don't like, New Age bookshelves. And I was reading a book, and a woman, young woman, approached me and said, "So you're interested in these topics?" I said, "Yes." And so I said that she belongs to a group of Japanese religious group that chanting and other things, no, of mystical or supernatural nature, and they have meetings, I think every week, and asked me if I would like to attend a 1 hour, 1.5 hour meeting where they chant. At that time, I was very curious about these different groups with different beliefs. And so I agreed to go with her. I've forgotten her name. And she seems like a very nice person and sincere. So I went there, and in Quezon City, I forgot exactly where, and their headquarters, there were about 30, 40 people in the room with, there's a leader who greeted me, and we were asked to sit facing the wall. Everyone is facing the wall, sitting down in the lotus position or cross-legged, not in level, but cross-legged somehow. And then, with eyes closed, they were asked to close our eyes. It was crowded, and we were seated almost shoulder to shoulder. There was hardly a room for the next one. And then they began chanting. After a few minutes, well, maybe about 10 minutes of chanting, I was becoming uncomfortable because of my position. I'm not just sitting that way. Then I noticed at the center of the room, our back, so all our backs are, well, we're facing the center of the room with our backs because we are facing the wall. I saw 2 feet, human feet, up to the ankle, with dark skin, just the feet. There was no body, there was no head, there was no arms, just feet. That's all that was visible. And then these 2 feet slowly started walking towards me. So I kept quiet, and the feet stood just behind me. And then, after a few seconds, it went to my side, my right side, and entered between me and the other person. That's when I started thinking there's something wrong here or something unusual, because it's not possible for that person, if that is the person, to go between us, because it was very tight, not very close. So that's when I realized there is something unusual happening here. That this is not really a human living person, something else. But I kept quiet and was just waiting for the next event or development. After just a few seconds, this feet the, uh, turned around and walked back to the center, where it suddenly disappeared. I was looking for it, and with the eyes closed, I couldn't see it anymore. So after this ceremony, this chanting and all that, the leader asked, "Is there anyone here who experienced something?" So I raised my hand and said, "Do you have some invisible companions or friends in this room?" And the leader asked, "Why did you ask that?" "Because I saw 2 feet here, and then the feet approached me or to my side also, and then went back." And she said that this is our spirit guide. "Were you afraid?" I said, "No, I wasn't afraid." He said he just went there to you to greet you because you're the only new one in the group. And said, "Yes, thank you." I never went back to that group and forgot this incident until I try to remember it because of these stories. The next story, uh, my encounter with ghosts or apparition, with my eyes closed, happened in Jaffrey in British British Columbia in Canada. I was around 1990, late 1990s, about 1998, 1999, around those years. I was invited by a friend whom I met in the Philippines, a Canadian, Mr. Kuto, to come to this group for a week to study the teachings of Omram Ivanov, Omran Mikhail Ivanov, a Bulgarian guru or spiritual teacher, was very famous at that time in Western Europe and also in France. Where was also France? Well, of course, Canada and Bulgaria. So every day there are lectures. This group, and yeah, it's a community about 30, about 40 to 50 individuals and families, um, and they have certain rituals. It's like the Finhorn community. If you're familiar with Finhorn community in northern Scotland, it's a community founded by Peter Caddy and his wife, helped by the elementals. Very similar that people are given tasks that's their volunteer. I don't think they pay anything, or maybe there's contribution, but they also pay by doing service like some. If you're a cook, then you cook. If you're a carpenter, do carpentry work, motor repair of motors, painting of houses, cooking, all that, sewing, doing the laundry. So everyone has a task there in that community, and they stay at least 2 weeks, or then sometimes several months, and others stay there for several years. So that's the way it is. And they along the way they study the teachings of Ivanhoff, and the teachings are part of what we call esoteric philosophy, and the Great White Brotherhood. So this is the nature of their teachings. They have a ceremony in the morning where they greet the sun. So the first morning I was there, I was fetched by Mr. Kuto, and we went there facing the east and the mountain, and they seated until the sun begins to rise. And as the sun rises, they're greeted by saluting the sun, just like the salute of Hitler, Heil Hitler. So everybody was doing this. Just only for a few seconds, and then um, went back to our own work, whatever, or cottage. Then in the afternoon or morning, there's a lecture. Afternoon, just another lecture. There are several other activities. It's an interesting group, and I was placed, or I was asked to stay in a small room in a cottage that was occupied before by a couple. It transferred here to the opposite side of the cottage, which is bigger. So I stayed there. The next morning, I was sleeping, and my body towards the wall, and my feet towards the door. There's another bed beside me. There's a small space in between. I I was awakened, or I just became conscious that there was somebody who entered my room, the man. There was no knocking, and just entered and stopped by my bed and started to peep who is the one sleeping there, and then turned around and started walking back outside. And I noticed he did not open the door, and he went through the door. So I said, "This is not a human being, or it's not living. This must be a ghost." But well, I wasn't afraid. I was anxious what was going to be next. But fear was not there. I was just calm. But there was anxiety. I suppose there was little fear, but that's not something that would make me really run away. So this man, I didn't see the face, but I noticed that he was wearing an expensive leather jacket colored yellow, yellowish, brownish color. And I noticed he was really quite tall compared to Mr. Kuto. So he was not the one. So after that, after Marcia, went out and joined the group. It was a group they were meeting with Mr. Kuto and others. And I told him, "Did you come and fetch me this morning, my room?" And he said, "No, because somebody came to my room this morning while I was asleep." And who was it? We don't know. How did he look like? Well, I said, I didn't see his face, but he looked at the person there sleeping, which was me, and then turned around and left, not saying anything. And he was wearing very nice, beautiful, expensive leather jacket, which is yellowish brown. Then the woman who was there with the child became agitated and said, "It must be my husband." She turned out to be the wife of Yves Saint Yves Laforest, the first Canadian from Quebec who climbed the Mount Everest, the highest summit in the world, the highest mountain in the world. Mount Everest. It was the first. So they occupied that room where I was billeted before. And this man, before the child was born, he died in an accident in a boat. There were several of them, about 3 or 4 of them. The boat, and the boat capsized, and several, I think, aside from him, somebody else died in that accident, and that was quite just before the birth of the baby, maybe several months long. No, so everybody was surprised, and it became the talk of the community about that incident. The interesting thing about this is that these two stories, I saw the ghost while my eyes are closed. How is that possible? Well, I think I have a theory. See, you don't see ghosts, you don't see spirits with your physical eyes. Our sense perception, the five senses, are meant to see or to perceive only what is physical. So if I am seeing something with my eyes closed, I am not seeing it with my physical eyes. Makes sense? And my back was turned towards him. I wasn't even facing him. So how is that possible? It reminded me of that time when I first had my outside travel, when I went out of my body. I could see 360 degrees, although my eyes physical eyes were closed, seeing everybody. But then I was conscious I was out of my body. In this particular case, I was not really that conscious that I was out of the body. I felt myself very light, as if I was floating, but I was still inside my body. So that's the difference. So we can see ghosts only with our spiritual eye, and that's the reason we can see, because there's a faculty in our mind, not the brain, but in our mind, for perceiving things of the spirit, and that's why we can see ghosts with our eyes closed. So till next time, this is Jimmy Licauco saying bye bye for now, closing, what do you call it, signing off for now. And if there are any questions, suggestions, you let us know. If there are inquiries, you may call 0998 988-6292 or email me at jaime@yahoo.com and we can respond to your questions. And also, what else? We're going to have our soulmates, karma, and reincarnation seminar, via Zoom, online, a 3-hour seminar on February 6th. That's a Saturday. A Saturday, from 2 to 5 p.m. Don't miss it. It's something that will change your life. We'll have guided meditation to see your past. I don't want to call it regression or hypnosis. It's a guided meditation to your past, and also how to recognize a soulmate and how to meet the perfect partner through a very, very powerful visualization um, programming of the brain, where somebody will really appear if you do this invocation for a soulmate. So don't miss it on February 6th, 2021. It's Jimmy Licauco again signing off.